me like friends.
Hey, it's Sarah! Remember Sarah? Hey guys, so this week's video is all about the things that I've learned on my last 3 weeks of travelling. My Easter holidays are just about to end and I've come to the conclusion that it's been a very big learning experience for me. And so I thought I'd just, share them with you. So yeah, let's just get into it. So I have a list of several things that I've learned. I'm just going to tell you about them. I'm just going to read them off and just, let it sort of sink in. Hopefully, it'll help someone. Someone will take something away from this. So first things first, you need to budget. And you need to budget hard. Because I didn't. And for a brief moment in time, I did not have enough money to afford food. And yeah, if you're wondering how I got some money to afford the rest of my trip, I would like to thank my parents for that one. Yeah, big time thanks actually. Next thing that I have learnt is to keep up with the posting of my postcards. Because I now am left with rather few which I need to send. Buying a few international stamps every so often is okay, but buying 10 of them at the same time is just depressing, because that means that I would have spent over 10 euros on just sending pieces of card to family and friends. The next thing that I've learnt is to adopt a when in Rome attitude. A little while ago, me and my friends were in Amsterdam and we definitely adopted a when in Rome attitude, particularly in coffee shops. Next thing I have learnt is to print out everything before I leave, because I had to pay £2 to print out a flimsy piece of paper to get me on a bus, and that was not worth it, and I could have put that towards food. So, food is key. Something that I also learned was to not necessarily look closer to the central city area that you're staying in, but just sort of consider that. So when we stayed in London, we stayed in the outskirts of London, and the hostel that we were staying at, it was around £10, but because we spent over £30 in transport, so roughly £6 a day, we could have stayed closer to the city at around £15 and still spent the same amount of money. That's something to consider as well. The next thing that I've very much come to appreciate and love that I have is a travel wallet. And so if you do not have one whilst you're traveling, I suggest you pick one up, because in this travel wallet is my life. That is every single thing that I have done this holidays in paper form right there. So yeah, that was really useful to have. It kept everything in the same place, and because I'm such a ditz, if I didn't have this, I would have lost it. Which makes my next point. I have learned that I cannot keep myself in check at all. I have managed to lose several things whilst travelling, including my senior jersey from last year and the book that I was half through reading, and I'm so annoyed that I lost it. So the thing I've learnt out of that is that I should check not only around the bed in the hostel, but also on the bed, because that's where I put them, and that's where I lost them. The next thing that I've learnt, and I do have a justification for why I did this, but I've still learnt that it's not a good idea, is I stupidly took a suitcase with me whilst travelling these holidays. The reason that I did it, and the reason that I justified it for myself, was because I had a massive amount of ski gear that took up half of my suitcase and my entire backpacking bag. So I just decided I'd put it in a suitcase, and boy do I regret it, because it's fine when you have a backpack and you can just walk along, but when you have a suitcase, dragging it across those cobblestone roads, and it is not enjoyable. So yeah, backpack, not a suitcase, backpack. The next thing that I've learned is sometimes the bus tours aren't worth the money. So I've been on 2 bus tours whilst travelling these holidays. The first was in London, and I thought that that one was probably worth its money. It was £25 and it took us around the city, and we got on and off it, and we had the whole day on it, so we really made the money. Plus it also had a free ferry tour, which was really good, so I felt as if that bus tour was good. and I will link the tour that we did down below, so don't worry. But the second tour that we did was in Paris, and it was 2 days ago, and it was fine and it was alright, but it was freezing cold on the bus, so we didn't really take in the whole hop on hop off experience. So in the end it wasn't probably worth the €26 that we paid, but I'm sure if we took full advantage of it and it was on a nice day, it would have probably been better. But yeah, that's just another thing to consider really. The next thing that I learned, and one of the first things I'm going to do when I get back, is purchase a portable phone charger, because the amount of times my phone has died, particularly whilst travelling in the UK, yeah, it wasn't good. It was literally every day. It meant that I couldn't take photos or contact my friends when I was lost, which was quite a few times. Another thing that I learned whilst travelling is to not ride on the footpaths in London, because it's illegal and it's £50 fine, and I was almost £50 poor because I rode on the footpath on a Buckley's back. So yeah, everything's fine, but yeah, just don't ride on footpaths. But do rent a bike whilst in London. And the final thing that I have learnt from travelling this entire Easter is to travel with friends! Yay! So that is it for this week's video. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Same as if you liked me or this channel. All my links will be down below, and anything that I mentioned I will also link down below. I've had an absolutely fabulous Easter. I've been skiing in the French Alps. I've then gone to Bristol, Bath and London, then Amsterdam, and now back to Paris. And I'm staying in a beautiful apartment with some of my very good friends from school. So anyway, I will see you guys all next week. Bye! Bye!